Hello everyone and welcome to the Redmen TV. I'm Steve Holt, this is Errol Smith. We've also got Dan Club over at the board to bring you the uncensored match build-up ahead of Liverpool versus Aston Villa. Kick-off is in about an hour and 15 minutes or so. Hope all is well wherever you are. Yeah, we've got a rough idea, we think, of what Liverpool's team is going to be. We'll confirm that very, very shortly. Errol, before I get your thoughts on who is and isn't playing, I think with all due respect, I'm going to go to the boss first and let him tell us who is and isn't available for this game.
Thank you so much.
Is Kanate fit for the weekend? Obviously, you got Virgil suspended and back onto transfers. Is centre half the next area that you're looking to strengthen? Could there be a chance even that you do it today? Just thinking that obviously Virgil's.
If we could bring in a centre half for a weekend, we would think about it. No, we can't. Ibu, no, will not be ready for the game.
Welcome back to another smooth Redmen TV transition there. Yeah, there's a bit of confusion with who the boss was. It was actually Jurgen Klopp. Tom thought he had to go over to Dan for a moment. And to be fair,
Paul's face
and Paul's face came up on the screen. He is technically the boss, I suppose. Yeah, but there we are. Anyway, no Ibu's a big blow for Liverpool. Of course, Ryan Gravenberch signed brilliant. Not yet eligible for this one. Thiago's had a setback. At this point, we can almost. We're at a point with Thiago, unfortunately, where he's a luxury more than anything you can rely on at this stage. So with that being said, Jurgen slightly limited. So Gomez and Matip at centre half. I'm guessing that's like really probably the biggest concern going into this one is that with no Ibu and of course Virgil suspended.
It is a concern, obviously, because we know that Ibu is going to be the partner for Virg this season, so you need him to stay and remain fit. Now, like all these little knocks that he gets, he just seems to pick them up. That keeps him out for like 2 to 3 weeks at a period of time, and then it's like who then comes in. The fact that both of these lads, Matip and Gomez, are both going to have to play today, off the back of a good performance last week, where it was a hard-fought victory in the end, and they kind of, in terms of Gomez, when he was actually brought in, things seemed to get a little bit better for Liverpool. Don't know how much of the game you saw, mate, but like it did get a lot better when he actually came onto the pitch, and we seem to be a little bit more defensively solid in that sense. So hopefully they just take that confidence from that, and I wouldn't really say it presents them an opportunity, because I don't think either of them are going to force their way into Klopp's thinking or tinkering with his plans or how he sees his partnerships forming this season, but they're going to get minutes in the Europa League without a shadow of a doubt about it. So this is a good level for them again to just build on that early form that I don't think either of them were probably expecting to get so early in the season.
No, and I agree. I thought Gomez was excellent when he came on actually last week. It was a very different game, of course. It was 11 against 10, back against the wall a little bit, but I thought he was. And listen, I've been a harsh critic of Joe Gomez.
Same.
I've been a harsh critic of John Matip this year as well. I thought both of them performed that. It's going to be a different test there. Of course, you're at home, you're going to be on the ball more. There's going to be a bit more space in behind. You're playing against probably Ollie Watkins, maybe Diaby as well, maybe Leon Bailey. Villa have got pace, so it's going to have to be something that Liverpool need to be wary of. Dan, I'm going to come over to you, mate, because we do have what we believe is the team news. Like I say, the official team news will be out in about 10 minutes. I suppose the biggest news that we weren't aware of, really, obviously we knew the centre half stuff, that it looks like Endo is dropping to the bench. Curtis Jones, back fit, is back into the side. Now, I can see on your board, you've got Alexis McAllister in the number 6. Now, is that how you see it? Because I'll be honest, my guess is A, Curtis is probably going to be in there, but B, are you surprised by the decision that Endo is now left out and Jones is straight back in?
I am surprised, to be honest with you. Yeah, I really am. I think, given what Klopp has been saying, obviously when Endo arrived, he spoke to him instantly in the dressing room and said, brilliant to have you here, made up. We've got a really good set of lads, really good team, but it's very offensive. And he's picked a very offensive side, if that's what it is, because essentially, when you include the likes of Trent wanting to get forward, wanting to get in there and do stuff in this third as well, Robertson ideally would also be doing something similar. You're looking at like a 2-8 at times, potentially here. Like, this is gung-ho attack. And I think we've all kind of alluded to the fact that our strengths early season do lie in the firepower. But this side here, without an Endo, without a recognised DM, we've been crying out for a recognised DM for quite a long time, all summer long, obviously. We finally get Endo through the door, and then we pick this side, whether it's Jones or McAllister. None of those lads are a natural at being the deepest one, in my opinion. I think McAllister does okay in there. I think Jones similarly does okay in there, but none of them want to be in there, and none of them want to curb their natural enthusiasm to do stuff further up the pitch. So it concerns me, because Aston Villa are a very, very good side under Unai Emery. They've improved dramatically since Steven Gerrard left the club, of course. So I wonder, they've got a lot of pace as well. Their midfield is probably their strongest area. area. You mentioned some of their attackers. They're also quite frightening, but John McGinn, Douglas Luiz, Kamara, they could easily go to war with these lads in here, and they could come out on top, and that's a little bit of a concern. I back these lads in their individual strengths, but when it comes to a midfield battle, I do feel like we might miss that Endo type.
I've got a really it's a loaded question for you. Is today the day that we finally see, well, us finish with 11 men on the pitch, hopefully, touch wood. And on top of that, you mentioned McAllister, and obviously he's probably going to be the deepest lying midfielder in that respect. Mm-hmm. But do you think we see Trent a lot more in that kind of inverted role as a double pivot, to give McAllister that little bit more, obviously not necessarily security blanket, because Trent's not naturally that, but having, when McAllister's played that role previously at Brighton, he obviously had Caicedo next to him. So hopefully today, I'm asking, is Trent going to be there more often than not to kind of provide that platform for him?
I think Jurgen Klopp's thought process will definitely be that to be the case, because like you say, McAllister is used to doing it, but he's not used to doing it on his own. He's used to doing it with Caicedo, who is that ball winner, that man who makes things sort of go and win the ball back and get you back on the front foot, and he's going to need some help in there, quite frankly, alongside against the Aston Villa side that are, like I say, very energetic. They get around you, they make life difficult. He's going to need Trent to be in there as much as possible, so I've got no doubt about it. Jurgen Klopp's selection here is sort of lending into the fact that we are going to have the ball, things are going to go to plan, and we've seen already things haven't gone to plan. Chelsea first game of the season, we hardly had a kick, 30% possession. I think Klopp called it a joke. Down to 10 men. So Trent hasn't been able to go and do that hardly at all this season, but I think today, from the outset, the plan will be, as you say, get that new system working and pack the midfield with 4 bodies instead of 3.
I suppose as well, mate. Like, I still think Jones will be the 6th, by the way. I sort of disagree with you. Yeah, I think Curtis will be the 6th.
How come?
For what reason?
Well, he was the 6th when all these 3 first started the season. It was going to be Curtis Jones, then he got injured. I think that was always going to be the plan. So that's my guess.
What's Klopp seeing like Curtis Jones for him to feel like he is good enough to do the 6th?
I don't know, but he's done it for England. He does it for England under 21 against a different level, I suppose, as well. I mean, that's just my guess. We'll find out later. That's just my guess. Let me know in the comment section below. You just think playing number 6? Just my opinion. I think.
I get it, but like,
we'll find out. We'll find out when the game kicks off. And indeed, that's the team. But
Dan mentioned their midfield. The last person I want in the 6 out of those 3 against their midfield is Curtis Jones to me. I don't know. I think he's tidy on the ball. I just don't see him destroying much or breaking up the play and sensing that danger. And I'm not saying McAllister's got all of that in his locker, but I think he's probably a little bit more mature in the way that he plays that position as opposed to
My biggest
Jones.
thing with Curtis Jones being the DM all of a sudden is the fact that we've converted him from a winger to a lad who can do an 8, and that's been quite successful. And now we want him to go even further back and do all that defensive stuff. I just don't think he's got the wherewithal. I don't think his first instinct isn't to go and win the ball back.
That was the plan. That was what he was doing in pre-season. That was the
until like an hour against
Bayern. But then he did it. That's what I'm saying. When those 3 were last on the pitch together, Curtis was the 6th. I might be wrong, and I don't listen to what it is, and we'll find out in a bit. What I do agree with is that Trent goes and helps whoever is out. 100%.
He's got to. We haven't seen it. We've not seen it. And again, that's we're victims of circumstance in that respect. But like at some point, we've got to start to see that be
2 red cards, and then against Chelsea, we didn't have the ball, so it was hard. We had a comment actually from Ellis Day who said I would have played Van Dijk Jr., aka Jarell Kwanzaa, and listen, that was never going to happen, but I suppose what you were thinking about, Errol, would be if it is going to be a back 3, you worry about Matip's lack of pace.
Yes.
I think that's Gomez's probably biggest attribute is his pace. Robertson's more than plenty quick enough as well. There's other concerns about him, of course, when he's left centre-back. But Matip's lack of legs against them, if there is Watkins running behind or Diaby running behind or Bailey, that is obviously something that Aston Villa, if they're not targeting that, they're stupid. Like Unai Emery is a very good coach, a very good manager. That's what they will be at. Now listen, I don't know if throwing Jarell Kwanzaa in for his first ever start was the option, but I do believe it whatever, regardless of the midfield in front of him, Matip, I think, is going to have a huge target on his back. Aston Villa will be going at him as best as they can, especially if the space that Trent does vacate.
That was going to be my thing there, really, is the fact that we already know that space there is going to be left vacant because Trent's going to wander into midfield as an instruction, which is fine. I've got no qualms with it. But then Matip being over there to be the legs to then cover, that's probably the worry for me, because even if you've already identified that as an area of the pitch where you can get some joy, knowing that the man that's going to then cover the remainder of that space hasn't really got the... Not saying he hasn't really got the legs. I think Matip's strength for me is reading of those situations and the timing. If he gets that on point, I don't really have as much reservation. But if his timing's off today, he's going to get cooked constantly because they have got pace, they will hurt us, and they will get in behind. And that would be... I think that is just, in general, the go-to area for most teams. It has been for a long time, and I think it'll, until we look resolute, it'll remain the same as far as I'm concerned. So it doesn't matter whether it's Konate there or it's Matip. I just think Konate's got a little bit more physicality and a little bit more mobility to get himself around.
Absolutely, and that's we'll see how that plays out with Trent. And it leads us down to a conversation from Nitesh in the Discord, actually, who says, instead of Trent going into midfield, do you perhaps see Jones coming back to support McAllister and making it a 4-2-3-1? So effectively, if you throw Trent to right back there for us,
I see what you're saying.
So throw Trent back, put McAllister in.
Yeah.
Next to so 4-2.
And he can almost do that.
Effectively,
instead.
that. So is that potentially an option? People have been screaming 4-2-3-1 for Liverpool for ages. If you're worried about Matip and the lack of pace, that is one way you can protect him. You can ask Trent to be a right back and say to McAllister and Jones, right then, little two.
I like the look of that.
I would be more comfortable with that personally today of all days. I think you have to go horses for courses sometimes. You mentioned just how smart and astute a manager Unai Emery is. He's very, very good at setting up his side to go against the opposition's weaknesses. But if we do something like this as opposed to what we were just talking about and Trent being in the box, that negates what Aston Villa will probably try and do, and it adds to our strengths because it allows Trent to go back to being the right full-back that does that, and Robbo likewise on the other side. I can see a lot of merit in doing that today, I really can, because you've got two lads who aren't natural DMs helping each other out as opposed to Trent coming in and doing it. That's a big tick. So Bosley, we've seen how brilliant he is. We've seen the energy he offers, that quality. And he can be more of a 10 in there with two lads behind him. That allows him a bit more of a free rein too. So I can see loads and loads of merit in that personally. And I do wonder whether this could be the day that we do it. Because like I say, the formation we were just talking about with the box, I set it up as you were talking, and quite frankly, it's eye-opening how attacking it is. When you've got Jones and Trent in front of your back three, that's not worrying, because if we dominate possession, if we sort of act out our game plan as we'd like to, we win the game of footy. Of course we do, because we're better than them. But if it doesn't quite go to plan like it hasn't done already this season, all of a sudden with those lads on the pitch in that system previously mentioned, you are setting yourselves up for a hard afternoon.
You said there as well, that horses for courses. I think that's another good point, because let's get into the international break with as many points that we can at this moment in time. Obviously touching distance of whoever's on top of the league, be it City. I think in that sense, start the whole Trent project after the international break, or 2 weeks, and hopefully then obviously Van Dijk only misses the one game after that. He got two, didn't he, in the end?
Well, he's been charged.
So he's got
one game for now. But
one game for now. So let's just go on the air that it's only going to be the one game. So he comes back after the international. Got a full complement. You can have Gavin Birch in there as well. That, to me, the way you've just summed it up, would make sense to say, I know we all want to see Project Trent in that inverted role, but let's just get through this period now with the numbers that we've got and the way that we need to do it, and then we'll kick on after the international break in the system that's been planned for this season, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. The team news will be out in a minute, by the way, to confirm. We've got one comment on Trent. Got a few more topics we'll speak about after the team, of course. But Theo here says, I know it's different because we've barely had 11 men. This is in the Discord, rather. But I haven't really seen what we've been given up space at right back because of how he's not been producing the goods in midfield. So basically, if Trent isn't playing well anyway, you might as well stick him at right back. I think that's what Steve's trying to say, because we haven't really been benefiting from him. But again, what I would say is that there was one game when Chelsea had all of the ball, and then we were down to 10 twice. Trent's captaining today, by the way, which is a huge honour for him. Fantastic to see it. A 24-year-old Scouse lad. Was captain of Liverpool's football club at Anfield, which is amazing for him. So we're waiting for the official team news to come out. But if it is indeed that team, which we think it will be, I wouldn't be shocked if he does stay and help Joel Matip out a little bit more, whether that's by choice or by circumstance. I think it might be the most wise thing that Liverpool could do. But we'll find out soon enough. We'll speak about it. It looks like Darwin's going to be up front. We are just waiting for the official confirmation.
By the way.
We're just getting the team now. So we'll come back to that in a second. Is it out?
Yeah, it is. I've got it, yeah.
Go on.
Liverpool, there we go, we've got it. I'll bring it up on the screen, Dan, while you fix your board. But I'll read it out, Dan, while you get your board ready.
Yeah, of course, mate, yeah.
But yeah, it is as we expected. It's Alisson It's Trent as captain. We've got Joe Gomez and Joel Matip and Andy Robertson. Interesting that they've got Gomez on the right of the defence there. I don't know if that's something to,
I think that's right,
to have a little look at. So you might want to swap those around, which again makes sense. If Trent's not going to be there, Gomez's pace. Yeah, it's got McAllister as the deepest of the midfield. Again, we'll find out that is with Jones and Szoboszlai. Then we've got Diaz, we've got Salah, and we've got Nunez as well. A bench of Kelleher, Endo, Cody Gakpo, Harvey Elliott, Diogo Jota, Kostas Tsimikas, Stefan Bajcetic, Ben Doak and Jarell Quansah. So it's quite a strong Liverpool bench actually, considering there's still players obviously unavailable. So you are without Van Dijk, you are without Konate, you are without Thiago, you are of course now without Ryan Gravenberch as well, Liverpool's latest signing. But I was about to talk about Darwin Nunez then. 2 goals last week. Off the bench, there was my school of thought was maybe you do it again. Maybe you put him on the bench and you bring him as the impact. So a lot of people disagree. You're shaking your head. He was always going to be in your team.
Yeah, he was. He was always going to start this game for me today.
He's just that guy, Errol, isn't he?
What did you call him? You're that guy. That guy.
5 minutes early.
Yeah, he's not that guy. No, but that was completely out of context. So I said he wasn't that guy to be brought off the bench and win you a game. And then he turned out to be that guy. So, but no, I think what we spoke about last week was the fact that no matter which formation it was, no matter how we had lined up so far this season, he had found a way to get Cody Gakpo into the team. This is the first time where he's taken, and I don't think Cody Gakpo has had the best start to the season, but again, another victim of circumstance, playing out of position for more minutes than he has in his preferred position. So there are like situations or circumstances that I can kind of forgive him for not hitting the ground running in the way that I would have expected. But Nunez, he looked all right in pre-season. He didn't look like he had a shaky pre-season. He
had a good pre-season. So
what I mean, like he looked like he had started to get his confidence back. I'm thinking in his head, he probably felt like he had done enough, and then was probably a little bit perplexed as to why I've not actually started the game of footy for you this season yet. Like you not forced me in, but like you threw me in early last season, and then it didn't kind of go right, obviously with the sending off and stuff like that. So he's probably thinking, what's gone wrong up until now, and that game last week was not necessarily just for the team, but it was a massive statement for him on what he expects of himself. So for me, it was a no-brainer. You've kind of got to reward him with the start, because Diaz, again, probably been the bright spark of that front three so far this season. I've been heavily critical of him, but he has been a bright spark for us. But Cody Gakpo, for me, hasn't really done it, and I still think Jota is that guy off the bench. If I want a last-minute opportunity to fall to anybody, I'm still screaming Diogo Jota for that. So it's got to be Nunez today. He's got to get the chance to get 19
if it wasn't that, wasn't it? It wasn't going to happen, was it? After what we went through last week. I've got a couple of questions on the team that I want to pose to you both in a second. But before I do, I'm going to bring up the Aston Villa 11. Emi Martinez back in goal for them, which is brilliant for them, not great for Liverpool. They've got Konza, Diogo Carlos, Pau Torres, Lucas Digne. There was talk of him getting sold, wasn't he? But he is in the 11 for now. And of course, Matty Cash. Is that
That's a back five.
Five, then it looks like that's probably going to be Kamara, Louise and McGinn with Diaby and Watkins. That very much looks like a 5-3-2. So Aston Villa playing wing backs. Their bench then is Tielemans, Chambers, Longley, Zanilo, Duran, Bailey, then Donker and Kellyman. So yeah, a couple of changes there for Aston Villa from a side who after getting pasted in the first week have continue to improve. They've been really, really strong since. Again, a couple of changes there. Going back to Liverpool.
Anyone in the comments let us know how they lined up last week, because I've got a feeling he didn't line up like that. So I feel like he's changed. He's changed what he's.
I can bring.
He always does.
He is very cautious for courses.
It is. That's what I don't like about him, because he's just.
Don't trust him.
Yeah, I just don't trust what he's going to do. You can't trust. He's going to come and try and cook something different.
To be fair, no, they were three. It was Torres, Carlos, Konza. It was the same. It was pretty much. I say. It's the same team. Fair, it was the goalie is changed. It was the same team that beat Burnley. Obviously, only Olsen's back. So I thought, I'll be honest, I thought Traore started that game. He actually came off the bench. So that was more for me. Diaby scored and then went off, of course. So yeah, there you go. Effectively the same team I feel that I've got there. Couple of questions, but before I get to Ellis has sent £10 to me, so thank you, Ellis. Do you think Liverpool, Dan, could play more of a 3-3-3-1? Wow. With Darwin as an out-and-out striker if we're worried about Villa's mids.
So a 3-3-3-1. So you've got Trent going in there and Jones as well, I take it.
I mean, that's very narrow against the wing-backs. My answer to that, Ellis, would be no. Because Aston Villa are playing wing-backs, so we would be killed.
Oh, I see. Okay, right. Something like that. Wow.
I mean, that just looks like a I don't know what that looks like. Like a sandwich. Like a hamburger. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it does. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. No, I don't think so, mate.
I can't have that, especially with the wing-backs. Go back to the forwards then. We spoke briefly. We haven't really spoke about it, Errol, but listen, there's a fella in our forward line there who someone tried to pay £150 million for a couple of days ago, in Mohamed Salah.
Oh yeah, this is news.
Well, Etihad put a bid in for Mo Salah.
Cheeky bastards. Who did he think they are?
Oh yeah, fucking hell.
Like, how's the Saudi League become a retirement home for Liverpool players?
Go and bid for someone else's players. But by all accounts, Salah's been professional about it. The reporting was he wouldn't mind going. Basically, and why wouldn't they? They're willing to pay him 1.5 mil a week. But have you got any doubts about how Salah reacts to that? Or you not because sometimes we have seen transfer speculation impact players. I don't get the sense that Salah's that type of guy because he is just uber professional. He's the ultimate winner. Just wants to score goals every time he gets on the pitch. But I think it's definitely worth a conversation, and we'll see today. You know, there was a little bit of talk after Newcastle. You know, Salah walked straight off the pitch while the fans all went to celebrate. So the players went to celebrate the fans, and Salah got off. He had a little bit of a strop when he got took off against Chelsea. All these things just start nipping away at it. But have you got any doubts about Mo Salah?
No, not really. I think we're nitpicking there, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I think no, just in general as a fan base, I think Salah just wants to be loved. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's got to a point in his career now with Liverpool where, because he's been so good, we've almost become numb to it, and we've become desensitized to how much of an asset that he's been for us over the years and how clutch he's been for us as well. And as a part of that, it's almost taken for granted that we've got this player now, and you know, every human, every person's got a right to be ambitious and to want to better themselves, better the family circumstances or whatever it might be. So I hold no ill will for Mohamed Salah, thinking, do you know what, my next career move might be the Saudi Pro League. That might be where I go and play the last 4 or 5 years of my career, make a ton of money, and also be in a country that's more in keeping with my own religious beliefs and practices. Sad, no qualms in that. But for the time being, you still are a Liverpool football club player, and as a result of that, I expect you to play like a professional. And then in turn, I also expect the fans to still love you in the same way that we loved you when you had that crazy season from the get-go, and everyone was calling you a one-season wonder. Like, if this is going to be Salah's swan song season for us, we need to love him again, because I think the fan base is, I'm not saying that we don't have that love for him, but I feel like it's because we've lost Mane, because we've lost Bobby, it's like we're almost resigned to the fact that front three in that era is gone. I also think we've still got Salah, so like, at least, even for the next 12 months, you just, not saying grin and bear it, but appreciate what he does while we've got him, because we're on borrowed time. As far as I'm concerned, that's how I see it, and you might see it completely different, but I don't see Salah being in our squad this time next season.
No, I'd probably agree, mate. And like I say, sometimes you just get enamoured with the new thing and you forget about the old. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Mohamed Salah's still Liverpool's best player. Until he's not, he is.
Yeah,
and that's where we're at. With you. So I don't believe that he will have a strop or he'll have a cob on. I think he'll be ultra professional about it. He was, I can reference these parts of the leadership group. He was in those meetings still. He was being himself.
Probably pissed. So. He probably was pissed off as well that all this was starting like then. I don't know whether it was purposefully leaked or it was stolen on him in whatever way, but it's probably gone under the skin and just thought, do you know what, like, I could do without the noise. Right now, like, with everything that's happened in the last 6 months, I just want to focus on the footy.
I suppose as well, mate, the fact that Liverpool's stance has been so clear, he is not for sale. The last time they did this was with Coutinho and he wasn't for sale. They did not sell him.
I know.
They made him wait, and it feels like if Salah, like January might be an option, I don't know, I hope not, but it might be. But if Liverpool's stance is clear, with all due respect to Mo Salah, even if he was a little bit upset, he's got to get on with it, because tough shit. And to be fair to Coutinho, he did.
And he had the great 6 months.
He had a really good few months. I mean, his back started there in the 2nd of January, window opened again. But
that's the only thing I worry about is it the AFCON this year?
Yeah.
I think when he's away at AFCON, I feel like that's when it'll...
tapped up to death.
Absolutely, I feel.
It's easier to leave when you're not here.
Exactly, do you know what I mean? Just like, alright, I'll send someone to get me stuff and, do you know what I mean? I'm gone. And I think that'll be the worry. But again, depending on Liverpool's circumstance, will also impact on that decision that he would then have to make. If Liverpool are way off their targets and we're still, we're just getting through the whatever round of the Europa League, but we're miles off the pace in terms of challenging for a league title, Salah might look at it and think, now's the time to go. I'm not here anyway for this month anyway, so you're going to have to live without me, and you may as well go and get somebody in this window now if you can, because there's £100 million available to you.
And that money's going to be there.
And it's not
going to go away.
It was never going away. It was never going away.
If they want him, they'll get him at some point. Ellis with another super chat about Salah. Thanks very much, Ellis, with a £20 super chat to the superstar. If they had done it really early on in the window, then maybe we might have taken the 150 mil for Salah, but we won't be able to replace him now. I love Salah, and he is a goat in this team and always will be, no matter what. I 100% agree. If they really, really wanted them now, they'd have bid 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, and there's a chance they'd have got him. I think if they'd have went to Liverpool 150 rising to 200 mil, Liverpool probably would have went, you know what, we'll take that. Because they'd have had time to go and buy Kvaratskhelia or whatever winger in the world you want, Matoma, whoever they really believe is the next big thing. I don't know. And none of those are Mo Salah, but he could be the next one. I'm 100% with Ellis. I agree with you. We've got a chat here from Neil O'Callaghan. I think it's Neil. €5.99. Thank you. He says it just shows to show that Klopp didn't trust Endo to start. I hope they'll have a quality defensive midfield that doesn't come back to haunt us. I don't know if it's that, or it's a case of, he did say Endo's got to adapt. I don't think he ever wants him to play straight away anyway. Jurgen's done this with DMs before. He hasn't really wanted to throw them in. He did the same with Fabinho. I don't know if it's something to do with not knowing the Premier League and stuff or whatever. It might be a Villa specific thing, the fact that they're playing wing backs, Dan. But what do you make of the decision for no Endo? Because I don't believe it's not that he doesn't trust them, because I don't believe that's the case at all. He starts him away at Newcastle. He brings him off the bench against Bournemouth a day after he arrived. He must have some semblance of trust in him.
Yeah.
But it is a bit of a shock to me that Liverpool's only defensive midfielder available at the moment. But yet it's probably not quite just there yet, isn't on the pitch. It does show. Do you think it is Villa specific? Do you think it's Premier League specific? What do you think it is?
I just think it's down to this game, and it's down to each individual game of football. I think there's no two ways about it. Jurgen Klopp was delighted to get Endo through the door, and as you've referenced there, he's shown total faith in him, throwing him right at the deep end when we've just been down to 10 men. He gets him on the pitch then to see us through, starts him away at Newcastle, which is one of the tougher away games in this footy league. Obviously, we've got a good record there, but to start him there again just shows complete faith in what he's brought in. So I just think it's down to the circumstances, down to the game of football we're about to see. He clearly thinks, for whatever reason, now I referenced it earlier, I think this is a very, very offensive lineup. There's loads of boss attacking talent on there. I am slightly concerned about the lack of a defensive mind option in there, 100%, because naturally they all want to make things happen at this end of the pitch and not the other one. So I get it, but clearly Klopp just thinks this team, this 11, this group of lads, and with the style and the ball retention that we've got in there, he sees that as the best way to win the game, and you've got to back him on that. Like, we all question Jurgen Klopp and his substitutions, and I was doing it last week. I think a lot of people were at Newcastle questioning whether we got it right or not, and look how that turned out. So I think my days of questioning Jurgen Klopp's team selection are long gone, so we've just got to back him again.
Yeah, to a point I agree. I'm quite surprised. I don't know what it is. I'm sure Jurgen he'll have his reasons, of course, but I think it's more the case of he expects Aston Villa to sit back really, really deep, and he wants 3 playmakers in the midfield. I think that's what it is. Their plan's going to be to try and counter-attack us, and the best way to not be counter-attacked is to have the ball. And I think that we've got 3 very technical midfield players, and if Jones, for all his faults, like his ball retention's really good. His stats are up there with anything. It might be a bit of that as well. Who knows? And listen, I'm sure Endo will come on at some point. I'm sure him or Pochettino, or even both. Hopefully Liverpool get themselves into a position where they're in a lead, hopefully this time, rather than behind or with less players than the other team, and that will go well. Ella sends another super chat in about forwards, by the way. I've heard great things about this Japanese winger called Taki Minamino. Yeah, Taki seemingly having a good old time over in Monaco. Yeah, League Earn's going well for him there. Back to the Salah stuff very quickly. Got a couple of comments from the Discord. MDSO said if Salah considers himself top 5 in the world, then he just doesn't go to Saudi Arabia. He can get that same money in 3 or 4 years' time. Fair enough. And then Quadbar says, has anyone even watched the Saudi League? It looks like he'd be bored with it, piss poor. Listen, 1.5 mil a week might sort it out a little bit, you know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, I have seen a little bit. I saw the clips of it. Dan, Quadbar asked, where'd you get that top from?
Liverpool store in town the other day.
There you go. Yeah. Fashion tips from us as well, yeah. Where did I get mine from? Someone's asked there. No one's asked. Redmanmerch.com is where I got mine from.
Is there a code for that at all?
Is there a code for that, Dan?
I'm still waiting for my Cody Gakpo top as well, by the way. I wanted the white one, and it's
20% off at a minute.
Tell him, Dan ordered him a top.
I can sort that out for you, by the way.
Good lad.
Good pay, though. We're not getting no freebies here, man.
Sam.
Good business, you know what I mean? Got bills to pay. John Henry's cut us off, he doesn't pay us no more.
Don't start with that. Don't start with that.
We've been mean about John. He's cut off the supply line. Yeah, that's where we're at right away. Right then, going to start wrapping up very, very shortly. Going to give you a second, guys. Have a little think about the score prediction. Just while I let the guys at home know. We will be back in about half an hour's time for the watch along. It will be Errol and I over here. Dan will be over in the kitchen studio with a couple of guests. Steve Plunk's back in and available. We've got a couple of guys in there as well. So we've got loads and loads of content right through the watch along and then post game as well. I will be on YouTube with our player ratings show. player ranking show and your comment show as well. Dan, Errol and Dan, the team will be over on redmenplus.com. If you want to sign up to redmenplus.com by the end of this weekend, if you sign up as a yearly captain and use the code RYAN, RYAN, of course, in honour of Liverpool's latest signing, you'll get it for 50% off. So basically, that works out at about $34.99 UK currency for a year's worth of content. So absolute bargain. You'll get today's 2 post-match shows and then a year's worth of content. Basically, the entire year, when Liverpool go on and win the Premier League, you'll be here alongside us every step of the way. Ooh. Right then, guys,
I have dared to dream again there.
I will dream until it is no longer mathematically possible. Why wouldn't I dream? What's the point of being a supporter if you can't dream? If you're going to be fucking miserable,
I'm here for it.
Liverpool is shit, boring, not in for it at all. I'm here for the vibes and the good time. Right then, who do I go to first? Dan.
Yes, mate.
Liverpool, Aston Villa, 2 o'clock, score prediction.
Liverpool 3-1, statement victory, statement performance right before the international break.
Errol?
Ooh, I don't think we're going to get the statement performance, but it's time for a clean sheet. And I would be really happy if those 2 lads that have probably been overlooked quite a bit in terms of their capabilities defensively are the first partnership to get us a clean sheet this season. It'd be a big positive for me, so I'm going for a 2-0.
I have 3-1 as well. That was my prediction before the game. Salah hat-trick.
Oof.
Ooh.
Salah hat-trick. One's a pen.
Wow. He's on them again. Wow. You kept him on them, yeah?
He's still on them.
Wow.
He might miss the first, might get the rebound. I don't know. 3-1 to Liverpool. Like I say, come and join us in half an hour right here on the YouTube. Of course, the game isn't being broadcast live in the UK, so we have brought the studio. Oh, where are we today? I forgot where we are. Where did we
Antalya.
Where?
Antalya. It's in Turkey.
Turkey, it's capital Turkey.
I'll get my teeth done. Oh, yeah, for me. I'll get an ear transplant and my teeth done while I'm here.
I thought, alright, let's not do the geography thing right now. Cool. Antalya, that's where we are.
So we're in Turkey. Errol's getting his teeth sorted. Not that they need sorting, mate, but you know, why wouldn't you? I'm going to get an ear transplant. We're going to bring you the game. Everything's boxed up. See you all in half an hour.
Thank you so much for watching. The new season is here. Come and join us over on redmenplus.com for fantastic shows, pre and post-match content, journalistic insights into all Liverpool's transfer business, documentaries, interviews, features and more. Head to redmenplus.com, sign up today and fill your boots